Welcome to this month's Learn with Loden. Topic this month is going to be our last topic for the year. It's one of our mainstay topics that we have, and it's a very important topic for us, which is our Comprehensive School Improvement Plan. Our district for over 20 years now has used the Cambridge model as a way to plan strategically. We'll typically have close to 150 people in our community involved in the planning process, and our main steering committee typically has over 35 people on it. And we are in the middle or latter stages of our current Comprehensive Strategic Improvement Plan, and we'll be unveiling kind of where we're at with it, what steps have we made, strides have we made, and also kind of share with you the steps we'll be taking for next year, and also our pre-planning for our new Comprehensive Strategic Improvement Plan that we'll be working on in the near future. But thanks for being a part of this month's Learning with Loden.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Learning with Loden. I'm really excited to have David Liss here. He's our Director of Technology, but he is also overseeing our strategic plan, otherwise known as our CSIP, or Comprehensive School Improvement Plan. So Dave, thank you for coming today.
Glad to be here.
Tell us just a little bit about, we have a lot of new people in Nixa. So what is a strategic plan or a CSIP? How does that impact a school, and how does it work for a school district?
Sure. A strategic plan is usually a long-term plan. Well, it is always a long-term plan. And we use a 5-year time period. Some go longer and some go shorter. Most shorter plans are really considered operational. And so when we think of a strategic plan, we think of those plans that are more aspirational in nature, things that stretch us, things that are done over time and impact the entire organization. It does contain elements. We'll talk a little bit about action plans, and those action plans are more operational in nature. It's more where people say the rubber hits the road, and those things that are needing to be done to create a completed strategic plan. And so we do those every 5 years. And
okay, so with that, that's kind of like, here's our goal. Our ultimate goal is to look at, timing of the day, like how we plan things during the day. That's like one thing. So that's the ultimate goal, is to get there. And like you said, there's these steps that take place in order to reach that goal.
Right.
And do they always get done?
Or
do those get done exactly the way they originally planned? How about that?
We want to honor the intent of the plan. That's really what it is. When everything is planned out, and you're trying to plan things out 5 years in advance, times change, things change, people change, staffing changes, those types of things. But we still want to get the intent of what what you alluded to were strategies. And so while we have the different components, we have a mission, and within that mission, we're trying to achieve certain objectives. Well, based on whatever, where we are and where those things that impact us, be it, legal things or legislative things, funding, those types of things, the economy, we then look at all of those elements and say, what are those things that we really have to deal with right now? And those become strategies. Okay. And we have 7 of those strategies that impact things like time and things like transition and partnerships and well-being, career paths, and those sorts of things. And then we break those down to say, what specific things do we need to do to help us achieve those? And so we have those strategies that are achieved by action plans, and the strategies help us achieve our operational our objectives.
So what are some highlights of our current CSIP? Like, what would be kind of, for people that want to know that maybe you've not spent all night reading all of our, that it's a 100-page document or whatever it is. But what are some of those highlights of where our strategic plan is right now, and where are we going to go over the next year or so?
Sure. And time is one. Calendar, that affects everybody. Yeah. When we talk about the calendar, it becomes something that is really
you know my feelings on planning the calendar.
Near and dear to a lot of people's hearts are the calendar. Mm-hmm. And for our parents of, when can we be gone? When are we here? What days are the kids out of school? What days do I have to find childcare? Yeah. Those are things that are near and dear to people's hearts. And so we want to maximize that calendar, but not only for parents and so forth, but also for our staff that are needing professional development. We need our staff to keep up on the latest things, and to be trained and to have time to collaborate within their own teams to provide the best education. Time is an element that is one of our strategies, and that is something that is one of the highlights. Strategy 2, which is transitions, is one that I feel like is very impactful to our district. When we think of transitions, I mean, it's transitions of kids that come into our district, and they may or may not be on grade level. They may have certain struggles that they have with adapting and that sort of thing, as well as kids who move within our district, even within moving from one elementary school to another.
It's like third grade at Matthews to fourth grade at SB. That's a transition of some sort.
That would be a transition. And then we think of all of our grade level transitions. When you go from elementary to intermediate, when you go from intermediate to junior high to high school, we were looking at kids struggle in those transitions. So how can we minimize the struggle, maximize the impact? And so transitions really is something that's been focused on very heavily in this 5-year plan. And then the other one that I'll just really highlight, and it's not to make any less important of the ones that we haven't mentioned here, but well-being. And well-being is all about wellness. It is about social emotional health. It's about social and emotional wellness and that sort of thing. And it's the adults making sure that we put on the oxygen mask and take care of ourselves so that we can help take care of students. And how can students help take care of students? How can we all come together and with all of the different struggles that are there both in the classroom and outside the classroom, and so that is a huge strategy that has really been focused on.
And I know that we've talked about that a lot, just with time, and time can change over time. But even like COVID and a lot of the pandemic stuff that really kind of brought to light, how we need to have that balance and stuff. And so we've really been focusing on those things. And I know there's a lot of strategies in there and those action plans to reach those. You can see all of those on our website at www.nixonpublicschools.net under our district. So you can read the full strategies and kind of see all everything that's there and kind of where we are as the progress. And speaking of progress, where are we in our strategic plan?
I would actually encourage, I'm going to follow up on what you said and then answer your question, but I would encourage our listeners to go out and look at, because if you look at the executive summary, the executive summary is really something that's palatable, that you can read pretty quick. And
that's what I go to.
It breaks down all of the different components. And if you don't mind me just kind of stepping through that, we base our mission and our vision on beliefs, basic beliefs that we say these are inviolable things, that these are things that we'll go to the mat fighting for. And so we have our belief statements, and then out of that creates our mission and our vision, and then our objective. And like I had mentioned, once we have our objective, then we can start developing those strategies that are the real time based on the events that are happening now. There's another element to that some plans have and some don't, and those are parameters. And parameters say, what are those things that, it's not that we never go outside the bounds, like I always use a court or a field, there are boundary lines. It doesn't mean the ball never goes out, but it says when it's out, we know that it's out and we have to bring it back in play. So we have parameters that are in ours as well. And I would encourage our listeners to go look at those parameters to hold us accountable to when we go outside those bounds. But then to read through what those strategies are and the action plans that we're doing just helps you understand what the school district's mission is at this point when it comes to those plans. We have 35 action plans, so we have 7 strategies, and under those 7 strategies, there's some have more than others, but there's 35 total action plans. And so we started this in 2020, but yet there's something happened in 2020 that may have delayed our, and it changed some things, like you said, and we've had to adapt. But so instead of the 2020 to 2025 plan, because of the year that never happened, it really is now a 2020 to 2026 plan. And so within that, out of those 35 action plans, 13 of them are either in an operational state, meaning it's how we do business, it's ongoing, or an achieved state, meaning it's done. Between those that are initiated this year, in the 23-24 year, and still things that are in progress from previous years. We have 16 of those plans that we're still working on, which is quite a few.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't realize there's that many.
Yeah, we really don't. We really want to stay around the 12, but 16 is doable, and the way that it's divided out is done well. So there's 6 of those action plans that haven't even been touched yet, and those are just things that we have the time, effort, money to do, but we're well into our plan. So this year will be another evaluative year. We evaluate every year. When you said, does it actually get done?
Yeah.
We actually evaluate every year. We have the team come back together, and we have all of those ones, the 16 that are in progress or being initiated, to be reported on, to say, what progress have you made? And we always say, or lack thereof. Haven't done anything. Yeah. We didn't have the money, whatever. Most of them usually have some or significant progress. And so that's coming up in May. This will be the last I won't say the last. This will be the last evaluative year only.
Okay.
Next year, when we get to 24, 25, then we will begin the process. It takes roughly a year, but really about 8 months for the entire planning process. We will start that process in 24, 25, so that we will then get our new 5-year plan ready to go for implementation fall of 2026.
That's awesome. So we've got basically a few things left that we are trying to get done. And like you said, not everything gets finished. No. Okay. There's just some things that we just can't do based upon funding or a lot of outside resources. I know we've had some that like the laws have changed, and so we can't do certain things there. Yes. And so we do our best to complete it. And then so we're going, I guess in a year or so, we're going to start the process of a new one. If people are interested in getting involved, they contact you. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. And there's 2 different types of involvement. There's a strategic planning team, and that team is really, we do a complete cross-section of our community. It's both school and community, and that is the unique part of the model that we use. It's not just school district personnel, which is fantastic because we are accountable to our community. But if they're interested in serving on that committee, please get in contact with me. It is a significant chunk of time.
Yeah, that's a really big investment. Yeah.
But if they don't want that significant chunk of time, there is also, once we have established the strategies that we're going to do, then we open it up to the entire community to be able to be involved on a strategy. Let's use transitions as an example that we were talking about. And if something like that is near and dear to your heart, you will have an opportunity to attend a meeting and then say, this topic is near and dear to my heart. I want to serve on that team to establish what those action plans are going to be. And so, again, there's a smaller committee that you have an opportunity of being able to serve on. And if you don't get on that committee, there is still the opportunity to be on an action planning team, and that's open to anyone in the community.
Well, that's great. Well, if you're interested in learning more about CSIP, like I said, go to our website. Under our district, the strategic plan is there, or reach out to David Liss at nixaschools.net. He'll be glad to answer all your questions, kind of give you the status of where we are, go a little bit more in depth if you have any questions. So we want to thank you all for joining us here today on another edition of Learning with Loden.